I realized that the only way this would end quickly would be if I managed to wound her pride instead of her body, so instead of taking up a defensive stance, I lowered my guard. She looked even more enraged by this, and I couldn't help but smile to myself. She dashed straight at me and threw her whole body into the most powerful slash she could muster, but I ducked it. She took another wild strike at me, and I sidestepped it, but she adjusted her grip and thrust at me just as I stepped out of the way, so I was left with only one option. I retaliated with a vicious slash of my own and knocked her blade from her hands, sending it spinning through the dirt behind her. I thought she was going to dash for it, but instead she just stood there, looking deeply into my eyes. We stared at each other a few moments before her expression softened, and she smiled at me. "All right, you win. I'll help you return things to the natural order," Lin Yu agreed, seeming to have found what she was searching for in my gaze. I nodded to her. "All right then, let's move quickly," I said, turning to get a grasp of the other battles. Oxhead and Horseface had nearly subdued Liu, and Ren had captured Lai and broken his crossbow, but she seemed to be looking for a way to restrain him. I felt Lin Yu pick up her blade before she walked up behind me and put her hand on my shoulder. The tip of her blade touched my back, right about where my heart would be. "Go ahead," I said. "Cement your family's legacy as a bunch of backstabbers. Why choose to be better when you could just follow the example that's been set, right? I'm sure on some level that absolves you of guilt in your mind, but we'll both always know the truth." I waited a moment to see how she would respond, but I was surprised to hear the blade slip from her hand and clatter to the ground. I looked back just in time to see Lin Yu fall to her knees and slam her fist into the dirt. I could feel my words were causing her to struggle with herself. She just needed one more push. "Pick yourself up, last blade of Ming Song. It's time to clean up your family's mess and start over, don't you think?" I asked. Lin Yu's eyes opened wide and she breathed out a growling sigh as she grabbed her blade and forced herself back to her fate. "Demon of Athens, are you always this insufferable?" she asked, smiling angrily to herself. "According to my friends? Yeah, usually," I said with a smirk. "Then we'd best not keep them waiting for you," she said smugly.